Y'all, I'm here and I'm working on helping this boy in his homework. And I'm reading his homework, and it's called Causes of Civil War. Okay, that's what it's called, Causes of Civil War. And as I'm reading his homework, I realize that school is programming these kids in a whole different way. Now, this is his history homework, right? I just helped him with. He's having troubles with it, so I had to read it over. I want y'all to look at this and you tell me if there ain't something wrong with this particular question that they asked him to complete and turn in tomorrow. Now, this particular article right here, articles that these teachers write for these kids to read and answer these questions. Now, you tell me if there's something not wrong with this that just brings us back into the trauma that we have and just reprograms and rewinds the clock. Now, we're in 2021. We about to get into 2022. And still, they try to reprogram and rewire these kids to go right back into the trauma state. And he's only 12 years old, going on 13, 8th grade. This particular question is the only question I'm going to read, so please bear with me, right? It says here, what is the relationship between slavery and the westward expansion? This is an article for a kid to interpret, right? It said here, without slavery, you could not have civilization, they said. Slavery freed the upper class from the need to do manual labor. It says it right here. Freed the upper class to do manual labor. This is his opinion. Not every white person's opinion in America. Not the government's opinion, not the president's opinion, but though one can think in its entirety, but it's a shame that people still write articles like this and think like this and even question young boys to answer stuff like this and place this trauma in their head, right? To go on, slavery freed the upper class from the need to do manual labor, freed them from actually settling and creating civilization, freed them from working on land to worry about economic day-to-day realities. That's what it's saying here. Slave owners insisted that slavery was absolutely essential to that story of progress. Without slavery, you cannot have civilization, they said. Civilization. Slavery freed the upper class from the need to do manual labor, freed them from actually settling and creating civilization. So they won't. So are you hearing this? Freed them from actually settling and creating civilization. Freed them from working on the land to worry about economic day-to-day realities, and therefore gave them the time and the intellectual ability to devote themselves to the arts and literature and mechanical advantages and inventions of all kinds, so that it was slavery itself which made the progress of civilization possible. Therefore, in order to settle in Southwest and Western territories, slavery would be a necessary institution. I am beyond like outraged. Like, I'm going to the school. They're having a parent teachers meeting tomorrow. And the thing is, my anger is going to be directed at the wrong people. This needs to be brought to the principal. This has to stop. This has to stop. According to Eric Foner. Don't know who Eric Foner is. The kids don't know who Eric Foner is. He was never an historian that we knew, but he was an historian when it came to writing articles based on the westward expansion. And the teacher who uses these Microsoft Excel or maybe Microsoft Word. They cut paste these articles in here and create these questions, and they program these kids by letting them answer the questions and putting them back into an inferior state, so that the kids not only feel like they're discouraged to want to excel in education, right? But they manipulate the other kids who are not black to feel more superior over these, let's say, the my people, the darker creed. And this is why the kids are so not into the schools, and they enter more of the K flocks and the K flock is not paying your bills. But anyway, like, this is what I have to like review sometimes, and I'm such a discuss. So the next one says here, right? Now this is homework. This is homework right here, right? According to Eric Foner, suggests one reason Southern slave owners supported the expansion of slavery into the West. Now, first of all, you have him read this, then you put him back into proofreading it, then you put him into a stage of thinking and figuring out how to answer something he proofread, reread, reviewed, taking out keywords. And when you see slave owner, and then you see Mississippi, and then you see 1840 here, you really are seeing words. Kids see words and they put things together, but they really see slavery, 1840, Southwest. They don't see the irony. They don't see, how this was an era in time, and how we came out of that era. The entire school year, this teacher has been given this type of homework every other day. It's been slavery after slavery homework, slavery after slavery homework. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And you have to make sure that you directing your sentiments, right? Because we're proactive, we're not reactive, towards the right people in these schools. Talking to the right people, the principal. Talking to people of management, not the teachers. The teachers is gonna act like they care. But if you want to affect their jobs, make sure you're talking and directing your sentiments to the right people, and make sure you're gathering a body of people to let them know that you're serious, because this is ridiculous. Then they come down here, right? Following the Mexican-American War, there was much debate amongst Americans and congressional leaders regarding whether or not Texas' petition to join the United States should be ratified. You went from slavery, then you went to Mexican. Slavery to Mexican. What type of people think like this? I don't gotta say what type of people think like this. But you giving this 12-year-old boy this type of homework. Excuse me. It goes on and on. I really don't want to keep going, because if you want to get deep real quick, if you want to really get deep in this boy's homework and the things that I see in his homework, and you have to scan through it as a parent, because if you don't do it, the teacher's going to do it. Now check this out. Understand something. They talk about anti-slavery right here, right? I'm not even going to go through that, because what they like to do is they like to break up the articles where they say, okay, the slave was rebellious, basically. They call it anti-slavery society, right? Right? And that was the states that we were free. And this was after slavery, we know, was free. Then they talked about right here, they explained the total exports, right? right? The cotton exports, right? Like a stock chart that we see now, right? They got it all written and designed here. Excuse me if the camera's dark, right? But the lower self would do anything to make this an unimportant film here, right? So don't pay attention to the messenger or the projector, but pay attention to the message. Now this is what got me right here, right? Right here, boom. This is what got me right here. Now they showing images of the states that made money off of black people, right? As if this is educational, as if this is gonna further your grade and further your genius, so you can become the great American educated person you're supposed to be, right? Look at this here. Look at this here. Look at this closer. Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Kevin Hart voice. Will somebody come look at this? Now what you see in here is the millions of dollars that they've made off the backs of black people all over the world. You got the free states, right? The places that we worked, right? But we wasn't slaves, but we worked and we've made money. You got the slave states after slavery where people were still slaves, right? Because look, 1860, right? I think we were free in 1863. I'm not sure. So I guess it was slavery then, but it was 1860. It was close to. So we still have free states then. As you can see, not much because the shaded spots are the free states, and then the rest of the spots are pretty much the slave states and then territories, right? If you look at the slave states, right, in the white, right, they made the most money. Well. Okay, the free states made a lot of money here, but these are charts that's not. It's actually factual, but when you look at it, it's significant to all the stuff that we've been through, right? Nowadays we work as free states, but it's no difference. It's no difference than. It's just that everything appears to be free, but in a sense, it's still in this chart because we look at it now as we all free, but then the slave states are people who would be in, say, the lower class, and then territories would be more like middle class. You know what I'm saying? And then look how they look how much money they made off of this. And then these are the major railroads right here, right? And when they put up the major railroads, they don't talk about how we built those railroads and how they built it off the backs of us in this article, right? They just show all the states. They show all the states, but they don't show you that the black people actually built the major railroads. We were a part of the major railroads. If you look at movies like 13 on Netflix and things of that nature, we built those railroads. Great people like John Henry built those railroads, but they don't explain that. They made sure they took that out because if they're gonna do that, then they would say that we extremely hard workers that built great things. They don't put that, but they don't have no problem putting us raising cotton and the total exports it bring, right? Then it goes up, right? This is homework tonight. This is what 2021, excuse me. Let me zoom out. We're in 2021. This is homework. Bring this and this due tomorrow. This due tomorrow. Where we at now? Right? Tension developed around issues of how to best expand U.S. economy. Best expanding U.S. economy. The same economy that they seem to be in a crisis today. The same economy that seems to be in this pandemic today. Right? Based on who? Who put it in? The same people in charge? So I guess re-slavery is supposed to come back now. When you read this, the extension of slavery into the territories and relationship between the states and the federal government, debates and differences in opinion over these and other matters of national importance eventually led to the United States Civil War. You see that? But nowadays they don't have to go to war because nowadays they can just invade. And when you're rebellious, then things happen. Terrorism. So, I mean, any smart person knows that when you look into history and you look at what's going on now, it can resubmerge trauma, traumatic anxiety, you name it. It can resubmerge based upon any historian right now in these days, like just reading these articles right here. Does it not alarm you in some type of way? It makes you feel like wow, like wow, we've been through a lot, da 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 da. And then you scroll to the next page and you see something else, and then boom, your mind can just click and just switch right to the next thing. Really quick, really quick. And we're not gonna say why, but knowledge just took it for granted. She screams out every day.